Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing there out in TV land? Jefferson, Cheeto, how are you guys doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. Doing all right. Running around like a chicken with his head cut off.
I'm on vacation from work this week, so I am doing very well.
Staycation?
Yes, very much. I like staycations. I don't like to travel too much.
Oh,
Staycation's nice.
Lots to be said for just hanging out at home and not doing anything, right?
Well, I'm doing projects around the house, but yeah.
Oh.
With a honeydew list?
I'm sorry?
Your honeydew list?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Most like make Jason sweat his ass off list, you know.
I gotcha. Well, good. Let me just check the comp.
You won't believe what happened this evening. So earlier today, I said, you know what? I'm going to cut the grass real fast, get some lawn work done, which I really need to get done. And then I may have time to actually be able to get on the live stream. I had so much to do. Sat on the riding mower, turned the key, nothing. Tried again, nothing, dead. So that really set me back a little bit. So there I am hauling ass on the push mower. I had to call in to have a service. You're going to come pick it up next week. I think it's the battery because this happened.
Is it electric? Right. So, a battery. It's a gas powered ride-on mower, but
yeah,
the battery's dead.
Right. Yeah. Gotcha. I think it's the battery. So I wish they would have replaced it last time, but for whatever reason they didn't.
I'm looking at an electric one. What's it? Ego is the brand, I think. Anyway, they're all electric. Mm-hmm. And there's a self-powered one, and it's like, I don't know, $550 and so. And like, oh yeah, rather than paying someone to do it, I enjoy the exercise. So maybe we'll do this anyway.
Do you have to keep it plugged in?
No.
Or does it charge a battery?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's got like it said it's got like an hour runtime, something like that.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So, but all the critters are running around. They're all good. That's Banshee over there by the door.
Oh.
Yeah, they're cute. We have matter of fact, we have another one that we took in that wasn't adopted, and he got into it with Boo Biscuit, who's kind of like the queen bee of the Peters Hubbard hive.
Oh, gotcha.
So we're spending a lot of time with her. So she's sweet. She came up and sat down next to me and fell asleep next to me today. She did that to Crystal last night, so she's getting there. It's all good. But by the way, totally, I'm not going to get political at all, other than to say, last night I watched the DNC convention, and they had the roll call. That's why I came in on the roll call, and I was like lacing up the sneakers, getting ready to go for 45 minutes of walking, finish off my steps for the day. And I didn't leave. I was just like mesmerized by what amazing stagecraft and what phenomenal energy that event had. I mean, the stagecraft was just mind-boggling. It was so damn good. Everything. I mean, the announcer was great. They had a live DJ on the stage who, he had a playlist for every different state and territory that was casting votes.
Wow.
Everyone was just, they played a side-by-side of the Republican convention and the Democrat. And the Democrat is like the craziest, biggest party you've ever seen. It was like the Bulls had won again in that stadium. It was crazy.
Wow.
And it was, and then followed by an amazing video by Kamala's son talking about their family. And then they had Doug Imhoff, who's the second gentleman, right? Who's Kamala's husband, who's just, you thought Tim Walz was folksy?
This guy's pretty folksy, huh?
He ain't folksy, but he's like down. He's a freaking dork. He is like you and me. I mean, he is like the funniest, coolest guy. That was it. And then followed by Michelle and Barack Obama, who both killed it. Anyway, and not getting political, I'm just saying that was just an unbelievable few hours of TV. It was
I wish I would have seen it.
It was. It's the first Democratic or Republican national convention I've watched in a long time, and yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, right. Usually you don't
They even had a Republican governor up there, or was it a senator? I don't remember. It was a.
It was the mayor of Arizona or mayor of one of the cities in Arizona.
Yeah, but he was a Republican there, and he made a really good case, and actually the crowd didn't treat him like garbage, like just because he's a Republican.
Yeah, Stephanie Grisham spoke last night, the former. Yeah, and she same thing. So anyway,
nice.
Let's look at some of the. I'm gonna. By the way, if you haven't seen our update video, the July update video, 10th anniversary update video, we've got 32,000 views on it. Jefferson there did a phenomenal job editing it and putting it together. And
thank you.
And it's kicked out. It's so good that the haters are all claiming we bought views. That
of course they are. This makes me wish I would have. I wish I would have put in like 3 frames of like my face or my name somewhere in there, just as a subliminal message or something.
This is Jefferson giving you the big finger, guys.
Yeah, but that's a shame. I mean, of course you're paying for views on that, right?
Well, they can't make up their mind if I'm broke and jobless, or if I'm paying for views.
Right. So it's either broke.
I wouldn't even know how to pay for views. I guess. What do you?
Who do you talk to about that?
Who do you talk to about buying views? It's like
I know that there's like websites and stuff you can go to, but I've never used those. Like there's ways to promote your videos, and then there's ways to buy bot views and stuff like that. And it's not good. Like it's not, it's not substantial.
Why would I buy views? So I have a higher view count. I mean, the view count is fun because the view count tells you how many people have watched your video, right?
Right.
So it's a really important metric. If you buy views, then what? I don't understand the purpose of that. It's good for your ego. I mean, it's not giving you a rational understanding of what your audience is. I mean, now, knowing that we didn't buy views, it's like 32,000 people have seen this. Wow. What does that tell us? It tells us there's a bit, and you look at the 200 plus comments and the, I don't know how many thumbs up there are at this point, but those numbers kind of give you a good understanding of your market and what have you. And I think I've only had to delete 3 comments out of the 200.
So when you buy views, is it like a penny per view? Is it?
I don't know.
I mean, do you Venmo these people? Like if you're sitting here, okay, let's say, all right, so I want to buy views. Who do you talk to? It's kind of like, all right, I want to try cocaine, but what do I do? Do I just go drive around the school or maybe go hang around the mall and just
you're like me. Like I would have no idea how to buy cocaine.
Where do you start?
If someone gave me, hey, here's $100,000, go buy some cocaine. I go, hey, Stogie, how do I buy? I don't even think Stogie does pot. I don't even know if I know anyone who would know how to buy. I guess my Hollywood friends would. I guess I'd call up, one of my buddies in Hollywood and say, hey, dude, how do I buy cocaine?
Right.
You, dude.
Yeah, I'm curious because I know that those people that say that are our biggest fans. I mean, they watch us all the time. They thoroughly enjoy all of the content that we put up. And,
no. The bot views are the ones that group that we talk about, is that other group. They're the bots because they sit there and they hate watch.
Hate watch.
They hate watch. So they're the bots. They're like, I don't understand how there's 5,000 views in 15 minutes. And then you look at their page, or I don't know how many page or how many members they have, but it's like, oh, they have 500 members.
Right. Someone do some math for me, if you would, in the comments. If I had a budget of $50, how many views could I buy for that? So yeah, let me know. I can't afford 32,000. I'm just gonna, unless
it's like drugs. It's like when I was in college, I didn't do drugs because I couldn't afford it. Besides not wanting to do drugs,
wasn't that the best time to buy it? Costs were down.
It's like how much, and then someone would tell you how much it costs, and you go, "How much?" you blew that shit up your nose? I said, boy, I'd take that money and have a lot better time than spending it on drugs. So it's the same thing with views. It's like, I don't care. If you said, oh, I'll buy, you'll get 10,000 views for $100. $100? Crystal and I can go to our favorite restaurant and have a night out and have a really good time for $100. Why would I spend $100 on 10,000 views, right?
You know how much Robux I could get for my kids for $100?
What's Robux?
So have you heard of this game called Roblox? It's a game all the kids are playing. It's Roblox. They've got me playing it.
My son plays it. And my daughter plays it too. So both my kids play it.
I'm trying to think of how to describe it, and I can't think of how I would describe it. It's like
customize your own adventure, but like with Minecraft looking characters.
I was gonna say it sounds like Minecraft.
It is, but it's like you can customize your own adventure because there's a little bit of programming involved from what I've seen. I've never played it, but my son talks about it, and they actually do have like actual adventures with like text storyline and everything like that, and then they run around and there's obstacle courses, and there's games like you got to outrun. Like there's actually like thriller games where you got to like outrun a clown, or I've seen him play that one.
Jesus,
I know it. It's like
scarring a kid.
I know. I tried to look up and see if there was a Star Trek one time because I, on my gaming channel, it's like, you know what, if they're because everyone says I should play Roblox. I'm like, if there is a Star Trek Roblox, I will play it, but I am not playing it unless there's a Star Trek Roblox.
Right. So Roblox is the game. The in-game currency is called Robux.
Okay.
And they have microtransactions like every game has for avatars, clothing, just all the different items, all the different stuff. So yeah, I mean, I can think of all kinds of things that I would rather spend my money on than YouTube views.
Yeah, and even I mean, we are the group of us in the Axanar clan on World of Warships. We're all legendarily cheap. Like we're like we play for free. We don't spend money on that game. Like at Christmas time, all of us will, we all kind of spend like $100 on the crates that they give you, and that. But we all save up all year and spend like $100, and then we tell each, hey, I got this ship, and I got got all this stuff.
Right.
But so, that's another thing. I'm like, $50 on views. Wow. I'm like
for one video. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I'm like $50, man. I could get the Yamato at tier 10 for, that's the way I'm thinking. I'm thinking of the battleships I could buy or something. So, but first of all, so I got to say that Jefferson has made the big time because he is now an object of Axa hater scorn. The Axanar crew now hates Jefferson. I am told, because I don't go there, right? Crystal filters things into me, and I am told that Jefferson is now approaching Jonathan Lane levels of infamy.
Holy shit, is that bad?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I mean,
they hate Jonathan because he's Jonathan's just a straight shooter. Jonathan pisses off everyone. But basically because Jefferson is bought into the cult of Axanar, I guess, we have a cult, I guess. Make sure you get your membership card at the door.
Yes, it is a cult. Now, do you offer dental? Are there any...
No, it's not that kind of cult.
No upsides.
No. They say it's the sex cult, but I haven't found any sex in this yet here.
Sign me up.
I know, right? It's like
I was about to say they don't know what we do on the weekends, then, do they? I mean,
like how does one go about? Same with the bought views or finding cocaine. How does one find this stuff? Is there a 1-800 number? Is there a
I don't know,
and
I know those guys don't know because they're all just like incel, as basement trolls. But so that was the first thing I had to mention, that Jefferson is hit it big with the haters. The other thing Crystal said is they're all wondering how I got my black eye, and so I'm like, Crystal hit me probably. I said, why didn't you say to that guy? I was told Crystal. I said, just tell him I got out of line, and I was ready to post a response to a hater, and she says, you're not going to do that. Bam. Yeah.
No, here's what happened though.
I don't I almost never respond to the haters. But I did recently post because I was like, what idiot thinks I actually pay for views? You have got to be an absolute moron to think that. And every time I think it's when they get mean and nasty, and I just, you're idiots. But when they do something so outrageously stupid, you just want to point out, do you realize how stupid you are? Do you ever listen to what you post because you're that fucking stupid? And that was it. So I'd say, Crystal, just tell them you hit me over something, So especially because they all think, led by Paul Jenkins, they all try and picture Crystal as like my slave, and she does everything I tell her to do and post like in their mind, everyone on the Real Truth About Axanar says what I tell them to say. And I'm like, boy, buddy, I wish that was the case. I wish I could tell people what to do and they do it, but that's not the way the world works, especially with Crystal. You try to tell her to do something, yeah, you're going to get a black eye.
Yeah. So that's another thing. Now, what you should have said was she tried to show you an Instagram reel and you said, oh, I've seen it. And then pow, you're going to watch it again.
So Daniel Van says he found a site that provides 1,000 views for $55.
What? For only 1,000?
$55 on 1,000. Well, maybe Matt Miller would, because he can't seem to break 500 views. But 10,000 followers. Well, I don't know.
That's kind of steep.
I can't believe you pay 1,000 views. You pay $55 for 1,000 views.
So wait, what do they mean by followers? Because on YouTube it's subscribers. You don't have followers on YouTube.
Well, maybe
it's
that's what
followers
he
for
meant.
Twitch.
He probably meant subscribers.
Maybe. But then
that's my assumption.
$22. So like,
All
is
right,
that
well,
like
now that we settled that, can someone tell me how much cocaine is these days? Because
Can we get the market price?
Yeah, now Axa Monitor is going to sit there and be like, oh, they're promoting drug usage on their podcast.
Oh shit, that's right. God dang it!
I didn't say I was going to buy any. I was just curious what the market price is. I don't know. Is there a Wall Street Journal for drug sales? So I can just just go look it up.
Is there any discounting for like wholesale purchase or? Now, see this 1,000 views for $55. That's going to bother me. Why isn't it 50? Like, can they round it? But 1,000 views for $6.99.
Google says 1,000 views for $6.99. Premium views. I don't know what premium views is. Probably means.
So what it means is nobody really knows. Even Google doesn't know. Like, because we're getting mixed information.
Yeah, that's still a little steep. I don't know. That wouldn't be.
Oh, David Murray wins the internet today. Thank you, David. We really greatly appreciate that. That is awesome. Matter of fact, I need to. I'm always the things that unfortunately, I guess I should be able to share my screen, but anyway, I need to.
Can't you? I think you probably could. Well,
I think I probably can, but I am going to.
So wait. So does this mean that Axanar Star Trek is in like exclusively? So that means everything outside of Axanar is not Star Trek?
I think that's the implication.
I mean, now we're just misappropriating Star Trek from CBS at this point. So,
well, if you want to make it worse, you'll talk about the Axanar cinematic universe. Oh no, we can't talk about universes. That's right. I forgot about that. So, can we bleep this out? Or no, we're live, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
It's on the interweb.
It's all memorialized.
It's okay. Nobody's watching. These are all bot viewers. They're all bot viewers. So,
now, when you say bot viewers, we mean BOUGHT, not
yes,
DOT.
Bot viewers. Yes,
bot. So we bought the people that are watching have been paid 25 cents per person to watch this live stream.
Oh, it could be BOT, bot viewer. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so what I want to do now also is tell everyone that we've relaunched the store. What was formerly the Aries Studio Store is now the MultiGeek, And let me share. So I just put the URL in the chat, and I will put it in the show notes as well. Let's see. I know. So it's live. It is. We spent a bunch of time working. It's a Shopify store. We spent a bunch of time working on it, and it's still not finished yet. Sorry, shut off my phone.
Where's the Cheeto bobblehead?
Yeah,
Where's the what?
The Cheeto bobblehead. Some bobbleheads, like one of me, one of Cheeto, one of Alec.
Oh yeah.
No bobbles. I guess we need to get
pop
those.
yourself. That's what they call it. Pop yourself.
Oh, pop yourself. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Can you actually make the? Is that something?
Yeah, like you can submit a picture, and I think that they actually make a pop of. I mean, it costs a ton of money. I've never done it, but I've thought about it. I'm like, maybe since I've got all this, maybe I should do one for myself. And I said, no, you know what? I've got Johnny Bravo right here. He looks just like me. You know?
Really? I was gonna say that kind of looks like Christopher Pike.
I mean, I have been mistaken for Anson Mount a couple times, you know, especially when he had the beard, you know, in the first episode of Strange New Worlds.
By the way, so everyone go here. I'm going to put it in the right now. I'm working on putting it in the show notes, so it'll be easy to find. Let me do that. And here we are. Here we are. I'm going to. Well, it's going to be on the YouTube show notes. All right, there we go. So now I hit save. So now you should see it in the show notes on YouTube. So while you are all going and buying all sorts of cool stuff at the MultiGeek Store, what do you guys think about Acolyte being canceled?
I mean, it doesn't surprise me with the backlash it got.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it was that. I don't think it was as bad as they made it out to be. But I don't think that like a lot of people were willing to forgive some of the things just because it was supposed to be a quote unquote woke show. And a lot of people were willing to forgive the bad parts. And then a lot of people were harping on it because of just, you know, the wokeness of it. And honestly, the only thing really woke about it was the director's comments about Star Wars and the fandom.
Well, and which were what? Because I don't pay that close attention.
Oh, just there's too many males in Star Wars. There, you know, we want to make. I think she might not have been the one who said, "Oh, I want my show to make people feel uncomfortable." You know, like stuff like that.
What?
I remember that comment.
I want to make a great film. How about that's what you say?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is that I watched the entirety of the Acolyte. I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't think it was that great either. You know, like I wouldn't say it blew my mind. I think it's kind of like a first season of Star Trek. Like they really didn't have a chance to get their footing, you know, but I think all the backlash and all of the drama behind it just made Disney like, all right, you know what? We're good.
That's part of the problem, dare I say, is that you had the hater trifecta: female, minority, and children. It wasn't going to last. That's the problem. Is those are the three things that you will get your fans to hate your franchise if you include that. Discovery had 2 out of those 3, and Acolyte had all 3. And that's the problem. Is I really don't want to disparage the audience, but you really have to be mindful of your audience when you are dealing with in any combination of those 3. When your show main characters have some combination of female, minority, children, You're going to be asking for trouble. Same things happening with Doctor Who, Star Wars, Discovery drew the same ire from the fandom for those same things. And
I mean, I get what
don't
you're saying.
say bad writing.
No, but what about Picard season 1? It had like none of that, and it was bad. And like people said it was bad.
Yeah.
Like no kids. I mean, Picard was the main. Were there females in it? Yes. Oh, every time I say females, I want to say it like Grand Nagus. Females. Anyway. You know, but Picard season 1 and not that I'm saying you're wrong. You are right. Like there is definitely there is a sect of people out there that when those 3 things are involved, their ire will be drawn.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, like like Picard season 1 was pretty bad. A lot of people admitted it, and it had none of those things. So, I'm just saying, like that's probably, I think bad writing is a legitimate reason for something to be bad. But I think with the Acolyte, as I said, I just think you're right. It had those 3 things, but they weren't as bad as the incels, I guess. I don't know.
Well, but
made it out to be.
Picard season 1 had 3 females in the main cast: Seven, Raffi, and Girardi. Yeah,
but they were. I mean, there's okay, but the main character's not female. So you're just saying if there's any females or minorities involved. Like I thought you were mean like
to be. You're right. It tends to be more of if that's the main character. So yes, I will give you that the main character of Picard was none of those 3, and apparently now honestly that's I wouldn't say that's news to me, but I keep hearing that come up that the first season of Picard is claimed to have not been that good. I hear that more often with the second season. Now, I didn't dislike either of the 2 seasons. I like season 3 better than the other 2. But
what gets me is people who don't like season 3, like
sacrilege.
Listen, I follow
Majo Rage over on our channel did not like season 3.
Sacrilege. Get rid of it.
Well, and honestly, I like season 3, but it was like I was not goaded in with all the nostalgia bait. Like there were some issues with that season, and although season 3 is the best of the 3 seasons, I don't know if I would still rank it amongst some of the best Star Trek ever.
I agree with you because it was, its whole it had a purpose, and that purpose was to create nostalgia, positive nostalgia for Star Trek: The Next Generation fans.
Mm-hmm.
And not taking anything away from what Terry Matalas did. So, because he did his job, he did exactly what he set out to do,
mm-hmm.
right? It might not be the goal that I wanted, which would just make brilliant new original Star Trek, but his goal was, I'm going to make the closing chapter of Star Trek: The Next Generation. I'm going to give all the fans exactly what they want. I'm going to just layer it in there,
mm-hmm.
Just ooze it with, Sherlock, with Moriarty and with Kirk's body and blah, 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 blah. And it did the job. The thing that amazed me was, because I kind of take a somewhat half rolling the eyes, half dispassionate view to everyone who calls everything woke. I do follow Doomcock, and I find him entertaining. But when season 3 of Picard came out and he hated it, I was like, wait a second. Whoa. You hate this? I mean, I understand hating season 1 and 2. I hate understanding Discovery. But you hate season 3 of Picard? How can you hate and then he also hates Strange New Worlds. And I'm like,
what?
How do you hate Strange New Worlds?
I know what it is. I know what it is. What? Jefferson, we need to add another section to your set where it's what is it? Minority, women, children, and Kurtzman. Like there's got to be a fourth, but some people out there, if Kurtzman's name is attached to it, they will crucify it, no matter how good it is.
It doesn't matter what it is. Okay, so right.
Yes, that is
right.
that, and that is true. That is true, and you can't help it. So I don't know. At some point, some part of me wants to say to these people, and I'll put Doomcock in there and I like the guy. Listen, it's kind of like I have lots of friends who vote for Trump. I still love him, right? So same thing here with Doomcock, right?
Doesn't mean they have to be unfriended.
No, the different. You appreciate. Sometimes you have to appreciate the differences. Sometimes you just ignore them. But I just at some point I'm like, okay, what would you like if you don't like Strange New Worlds? If you didn't like season 3 of Picard, and you don't like Strange New Worlds, and you don't like Lower Decks, I'm like, okay, what the fuck? What do I have to do to make you happy?
I want to know what kind of crazy person doesn't like Lower Decks. I mean, what kind of person and personality on this panel could not like Lower Decks? I mean, there is something seriously wrong with somebody who does not like Lower Decks. Okay?
I can get closer to the mic and say.
Bentley Techman, who is, I think Bentley, you said you were from the UK. Welcome and thanks for staying up. Bentley, I think you're new here. Bentley, are you not? If a miracle ever happened, Paramount offered you a show on Star Trek, what era would you choose? I assume Kirk, Picard, Archer. First of all, yeah, okay. Miracle happens, and someone, let's say Skydance takes over, and they're huge fans of Axanar, and they pick up the phone and say, "Call that Peters guy. Let's get him in here to make Star Trek." And they bring me in and they say, "Okay, what do you want to do?" Oh, okay. What do I want to do? Well, first of all, I would say, God, it's got to be something in my wheelhouse that I feel comfortable with. And like, why don't we make the Axanar movie? Give me $10 million and we'll make the Axanar movie. Full blown. Professional Hollywood, recast everyone, blah, 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 blah. Do that. So Bentley, that's what I would do. Just let's make the movie that we never made. If they said you can't do that, you got to do something else. I go, but then play Star Trek after Voyager. How about what happened after Voyager? That's what I want to know. I don't give a shit about this Discovery year 3000, whatever, post-burn bullshit, whatever. I don't give a shit about that stuff. Let's find out what happened after Voyager. Yeah. Lots of good stories there.
I mean, technically, Lower Decks and Prodigy take place in that time.
Yes,
frame.
yes.
But, right. I mean, I get what you're saying. Like a live action show post Voyager's return, it would be nice. And you obviously couldn't involve the Voyager characters just because they're so much older now. Are you talking like directly after Voyager got home? Or are you talking about like post Nemesis?
Do it 25 years after. Yeah. Do it.
Okay. So like Picard timeline, like
Picard.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Picard. See,
I thought you meant like right after Voyager got home. I'm like,
this is if you're making Alex Czar of Star Trek, I'm going, okay. First thing I'm going to do on day one is say, okay, everyone, everything Kurtzman did is an alternate timeline. Okay, let's just get that straight. That is not prime timeline. Okay,
that's you're right though. I mean, but
everything you did alternate timeline. Now, from that you can bring in whatever you want. You want to say Lower Decks and Prodigy were prime timeline, and all the live action stuff was Kurtzman time. Fine, whatever. You can work it. But I'm not going to buy into all that Discovery bullshit and Picard and everything as prime timeline. I'm just not. I'm sorry. That's not the way it should have been done in the first place in my book. And that would be. And then I would do a Star Trek like we're used to, like Star Trek Strange New Worlds has tried to done. But rather than shoehorning it into the past, do what we all would have loved Discovery to be. Post Voyager, what's happened, and make it 25 years later. So Harry Kim is finally a second lieutenant, or
he's chief ensign now. Like,
yeah. But I think that they missed the boat by not giving the fans what they wanted, which was a continuation of the Star Trek we all loved.
Yeah. So let me do this, Cheeto. I want to address your reaction to the Discovery and Strange New Worlds not in the prime timeline, because I've been thinking a lot about this myself. So my thought behind this, my old rationale, and I'm not including Prodigy or Lower Decks, because I think Discovery and Strange New Worlds already is enough in this example, but we know that Strange New Worlds and Discovery are in the same timeline with each other. Whether that was Prime Timeline or some other timeline, they are together. Now, this is why I'll say that Discovery and Strange New Worlds are not in the Prime Timeline. The reason being is that Strange New Worlds, I forget the name of the episode, but it was this most recent season when La'an and the other alternate timeline Kirk were sent back in time to Earth's past, and it was the 2020s, and Khan was a child. So in the Prime Timeline, Khan was born in the 60s-ish, but by the mid-90s, he was already shot off the planet.
Yep.
Now,
Yep.
the way I look at it is whenever there's an incursion in the past, there's a little bit of give and malleability to the timeline before the events of what you do or what you affect branches you off, breaks that, and puts you into another timeline. I can't say that I'm ready to claim what event that was that put Discovery and Strange New Worlds in an alternate timeline.
I can't.
What is it? What would you say?
We actually, over on NerdTube, we did a whole episode. It's called the First Contact Timeline.
That's right. We talked about that. I remember talking with you about that.
I didn't know if you were there for that one, but the First Contact Timeline is as soon as Picard went back in time, it branched back in that past. It branched off a new timeline from First Contact. And so what happened and because the Borg did make an appearance in Enterprise, everything like going back then, and then it branched off. So then Enterprise, Discovery, Strange New Worlds, all is this brand new timeline moving on.
Okay, so I can take that Enterprise, Discovery, and Strange New Worlds are in the First Contact timeline. Okay, I can buy that. The problem with that, though, is
why?
Well, wait a minute. Okay, I can go with Enterprise being in the First Contact timeline. I can go with that. What I'm having a hard time getting behind is Discovery and Strange New Worlds, because Discovery and Strange New Worlds are in a timeline together. Whichever one we say they're in together. But what break would have caused the Augment and Khan to have not
delayed.
To be that delayed? So what event was that?
They're saying okay, so
the Temporal Cold War.
They're saying it's the Romulans.
And it could feasibly be like the Temporal Cold War, like Romulans of the 27th century or whenever the Temporal Cold War takes place. You know, like that was kind of how I took it. And I don't remember in that episode. I know what episode you're talking about. I don't remember if they did specify what time frame they were from, if they were from the 23rd century or the 22nd, or they just didn't say what time frame they were from, because it makes me think that that because they went back in time, it just the Temporal Cold War just kind of ravaged the entire timeline and made alternate branches all over the place.
Right. So the eugenics wars were in the 90s. Right. I'd have to look it up as to when Khan was born. I'm sure it was the 60s something. So whatever incursion put Discovery and Strange New Worlds in a timeline that the eugenics development and Khan wasn't around until closer to the
2030s.
Let's see.
2030s.
In that episode, Khan was 8 years old, and that was 2024.
Yeah, so he was born in 2016.
Okay, so
30 years after that would be 2046.
So something for him to have not been around until 2016 meant that something would have had to have happened before the 60s to cause an incursion to make the eugenics not happen in the 60s for Khan to have been born. So,
and I think in that episode they kind of I think that's kind of like they're talking about the whole time has a way of adapting,
Sure.
right? So the Romulans go back and try and kill Khan to mess up the timeline, and by doing that, say they're successful in preventing Khan from being born in the 60s. Basically, what they're saying is he's born anyway.
Like, right?
It's happening whether we like it or not.
Whether you like, right? It's that whole theory that time, time fucks you back. If you fuck with time, time's going to fuck you back.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where they're going. I mean, Akiva Goldsmith said in an interview that yes, we're messing with the timeline. He literally said it is no longer the prime timeline.
Right.
He said that. So the question is, where are these changes happening, and how is that creating alternate timelines? So
yeah, I mean that is the biggest mystery, because I think what this really is a product of is left hand not talking to the right hand. You know what I mean? Like that's the real life explanation. So I don't think we're going to get a solid answer. There was a comment up here where Sturm says, "I'd say no, Cheeto, as Enterprise respected TOS canon in Intermirror Darkly." Yes, they did, but however, who's to say that the Defiant did not get shifted into another timeline with the Tholian web? Like, it went. I mean, and plus that was in the mirror universe. That was not in the because like Intermirror Darkly is the mirror universe.
Mirror universe. That's mirror universe.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean,
which is one of many alternate timelines.
Yeah. So, I mean, technically, Enterprise respected it, but that doesn't negate the fact that that Enterprise might be a different. And as I said, there's no real big indication besides the fact that, they say, oh, it was the first Enterprise or whatever. But then there's the NX-01, and that was technically never talked about, but that's because it wasn't made yet. So we have to kind of suspend our belief for some of this stuff, only because we can theory craft all we want, but at the end of the day, the only person who can answer that is the writers who wrote those episodes.
Right.
What were you thinking? Oh, I just didn't think about it, is probably what the answer you're going to get.
Oh, that's absolutely. And that's where I think we spend way more time thinking about this than the writers of Star Trek ever do.
Right? Oh yeah, 100%.
Right, orders of magnitude. This is one of the things I think that fans love about Prelude to Axanar, because certainly it was conveyed to me when we were on tour back in 2014, 2015. They would come up and they'd ask me questions, but a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, you thought of everything. You worked through the problem." And I say, "Yes, we worked through every problem." Like, so when you see Axanar and when you see these next two episodes, there's a reason for everything. So why are there ships that look like JJ Universe ships, but not quite? I said, okay, because we believe that there was a school of engineering that designed things, and in our universe, they designed the same things, but the engines were just different. I mean, there was just a different design aesthetic. Why do all of our ships have different patches? Well, I understand both theories of the Star Trek film production, TV production, and why some people say they all should have had a chevron, and some people say no, every ship was different. I get it. We've been trying to work that out, and we know that was a production issue. That wasn't a canon issue, right? Right. We simply choose to follow the theory that every ship had its own patch. We thought through that. We said, let's do it. It's good. Why? Because it was fucking cooler. It was way cooler to every ship to have its own patch than to have one patch that was, that was a chevron. That's why. But we think of, and like, oh, well, are your Klingons ridge head or are they smooth head? At that time they should be smooth head. Well, no, because if you look at Divergence and the two episodes about the Klingons in Enterprise, we understand that the augment virus affected millions of Klingons. It didn't affect everyone. It just affected millions of them. So there should be both smooth heads and ridge heads in the Klingon universe back at the time of Axanar. We worked through all those issues. Writers on Star Trek don't work through any of those issues.
No,
They simply don't.
they
If
go. They go.
know-
Which nostalgia thing should we grab this week to kind of, they're like, how does this fit in
What-
the canon?
Yeah, Gorn, let's take that and let's make it Gorns versus mash it up with aliens, and that's what we're going to do. That's what.
Right.
And with no disrespect meant to any of the writers, part of the problem is that they're generic writers. They're not Star Trek writers, right? They're not Star Trek fans who necessarily came up and, even if they were Star Trek fans, they didn't necessarily think about this shit the way we think about it, right? We obsess about this stuff. So yeah. So strange. Dustin Z said Strange New Worlds and Picard did push 2024 to 2040. Okay.
Picard, I think at the end of season 2, they did. I was actually going to look that up. I thought that the Picard con file that was in there actually had 1990 something written on it.
Okay,
hold on. I'm gonna do my research, aka Google.
Wilhelm, that Captain America shield is from the first Avenger. It's from the first Captain America movie in the.
Is that an actual prop or is that?
Yeah, that's an actual screen use prop.
Nice.
So yeah.
Listen, that's like, well, I mean, I love the entire Captain America trilogy, but that first one just blew my socks off.
Joe Johnson.
Just because it was such a good movie and they took a big swing and it paid off.
Oh yeah, no, it was great.
Actually, it says Project Con confidential funding report, June 7th, 1996, is when Soon was looking. The file that Soon was looking at in 2024, I think, in Picard season 2. Didn't they came when they went back, or 2025, something like that. It was a couple years in the future of when it released. But
yes.
So the actual project file does say 1996. Now I don't know if that's what they mean, like Khan was born in 1996, or if like that's from 1996, like that's when the whole Khan eugenics war, everything went haywire. You know what I mean? Like, because the eugenics war was in the 90s.
Right.
I do have to totally change the subject for 1 second. Donnie, this is news to me. I grew up on news radios, 880 AM in New York City, CBS. I did not realize. It's amazing that AM radio still exists as far as
right. Yeah, there's still AM radio.
God, I know. So yeah, I grew up on that. So thank you for saying that. So yeah, but I think there should be the keeper of the canon, right?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
There should be one person who's in charge of, like, because they do this at the MCU. Marvel. Whether that's Kevin Feige or someone else, there is someone who's saying no, we can't do that because when you also, the other thing is, when you go and look at all the things that were in, and I watch the little reels on Facebook or Instagram, whatever, and all the people who are picking out all the little things, and it's like, and they pick out, like, in the first Iron Man they did this, so in Endgame when he does this, it's because of the, like, holy shit, really? I didn't, and so they pay attention to that shit. You're not going to catch Marvel screwing up in that, whereas CBS all the time they just make, and my argument is that there is a lack of consideration for the fans, because if they really knew their audience, now that can be CBS, that can be Kurtzman's, or that could be Secret Hideout, whoever. If they really cared about their fans, they would be addressing this stuff. But they don't care about us, because they're all like, look, they think here, Star Trek fandom is concentric circles, and we're at the core, right? But the big concentric circle on the outside is all the new viewers they're trying to get to start watching Star Trek. And that's who they're building Star Trek for. They don't really care about this core, because they know, and they've said, it doesn't matter what we do, those fans are going to keep coming back. They've literally said that. Right. That is an absolute disrespect for your fans. That's simply taking us for advantage. Marvel would never do that. Kevin Feige would never allow that to happen, because that is one of the core precepts of the Marvel universe is internal consistency. Right. Star Trek has no internal consistency. And I know there was a comment about JJ Trek. I am totally cool with JJ Trek. I'm totally cool with it. because he did us the courtesy of saying it was an alternate universe.
Yeah, he
Right.
did. He went out of his way to say that it was like and he had Spock give a whole speech in the movie about why it was an alternate universe. Like, and that's called respecting the fans.
That's right. That's right.
Because he knew they didn't really baby us in that scene. Like basically, he laid it out for the people that aren't used to Trek, but at the same time, he respected our time by making it a quick exposition and moving on.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, more pontification here, but let's see. Yeah, well, the Gorn have certainly changed, but the problem with Gorn also is it would be really hard to do modern Star Trek with Gorn that look like they did in TOS, right?
That's one of those things where it's like, guys, we just have to suspend our disbelief, because the 1960s Gorn are not like that. That's not feasible in today's day and age. It would be laughed out of. Yes, would we appreciate it? Sure. And can Lower Decks make fun of it? Absolutely, because it's funny. But it's like, you have to update it. You have to go with, and everyone says, oh, it was an older Gorn. Whatever hand wavy thing you need to say to explain it away for yourself, for it to make sense, that's fine. For me, it's like, they just got with the times, and the Gorn are these lizard aliens that are actually predators. Makes sense to me.
But I got a problem with that. The problem I have with that is, for every second you're doing this, you need to keep in mind, Arena, that Kirk is going to fight one of these hand-to-hand combat, and he's going to survive. So no matter what you want to do with the Gorn, no matter how you redesign them, how you want them to look, how they act, any of that stuff, you better keep it in your head that Kirk is going to fight one of these hand to hand, and he's going to make it. So what they did was they got stupid with the Gorn. They have made it so completely unbelievable that is going to happen, and he's going to survive that encounter. And I'm not taking it was an old Gorn, it was geriatric Gorn, any of that stuff.
He had a lot of arthritis.
Nope. I'll give you some stuff here and there. I'm not giving you that one.
Gorn arthritis.
And you look at that back in, and of course they used the Gorn in Enterprise, right? Was that in the Mirror Darkly? Right?
Yeah.
Right. And
that was Mirror Universe Gorn. So Mirror Universe Gorn.
Mirror Universe Gorn, but they made them reptilian, and they were.
I think reptilian
totally
is
divorced.
Yeah, reptilian is great. No problem with reptilian. The problem is that they've made the depiction too unrealistic, knowing what's going to happen. That's the problem that I've got. But in any case, what I just realized is. You had some VFX you were going to talk to us about?
Oh, yes.
VFX updates. We called it Axanar After Dark, and then hardly talked about, we talked about Axanar, but
yes. And let me open
he's gonna release the images of the Gorn showing up in Axanar. So
oh boy, that happens.
That was the key, is that it made him realize that we have Gorn. Yes, Gorn. The Gorn are going to have
Gorn are going to show up in Axanar now. They've aligned with the Klingons.
So let me. So first of all, I just say that we are. A lot has happened this past weekend with Axanar and our VFX. We got a new VFX person on board, which was really exciting. And actually, it's just one of those things. My cousin called me and says, "Hey, my best friend's husband works in VFX, and he has a company, and he's a huge Star Trek fan." I said, "Well, show him Prelude to Axanar," and she did, and he lost his shit, and he said, "I got to work with these guys." So we had a call this week, and now he's working on the VFX team, doing compositing and backgrounds and stuff like that. So it was a huge addition. It was really welcome. The timing was amazing. It just works in really well with us. So that's great. Oh, I'm going to mention Scott G in ATL is Scott Good, our loyal studio manager, and he is recovering well from his triple bypass and his tracheotomy, and he is doing really good.
Yeah, you've been through it, my friend.
He has been
Welcome
through
back,
it. He
Scott.
has, and and we went to Dale and I went to see him about 2 weeks ago in the hospital, and we had to give him some tough love and slap him around a little bit because he wasn't doing his PT. So he did. He toughened up and he's kicking ass at it. So Scott, we're all looking to see you back again.
Listen, as a therapist myself, do your therapy. Everybody, when you have to do therapy, do your therapy.
That's right. You got to do therapy. The other comment I'll make is, I love period superhero movies. I love The Shadow. I love The Phantom. Rocketeer, Joe Johnson.
Yeah, Joe Rocketeer. Then, funny enough, the same director did Captain America: The First Avenger.
Joe Johnson. Joe Johnson was also. If you have the Star Wars sketchbook, that's all fucking Joe Johnson's work. He was an illustrator before he was a director, so he's amazing. So I totally agree. I
thought the Eternals movie should have been a period piece. Like I think it should have taken
better.
way better.
Yep, I totally agree with you there. And I have a friend who said I had a friend who said the problem with Superman is it's meant to be a period piece. He said you need to set the Superman in the 30s, and I was like, oh man, that's amazing. So they need to do, but we won't see it. But anyway, so there you go. So getting back to Axanar. So let me open up a couple scenes for you guys. This is all Previs, guys. So, as we've talked about, Previs is not finished effects shots. It's what's sent to us by our VFX team to approve. When we go, yeah, that works. That looks good. So here you go. Boom, boom. All right. So here's
those are some ample nacelles.
There you go. So one of the things you'll see is obviously there's things that aren't finished. It's very rough. And we're in the process where you're just seeing a lot of multiple ship shots, right? We're finally getting into that. Like we need a lot of shots, a lot of ships in a shot. Here's a great one that I really love. This is very, very different. Boom, boom. Just because you really get to see the Geronimo class there.
Yeah.
That's a great shot. That's a great shot.
Yeah.
And then, and last but not least.
Am I allowed to, can I ask something? And if it's spoilers, just tell me. Are the Connie classes going to show up in Axanar, or is that a spoiler?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Cool. Okay.
People are, hey, you going to see the Enterprise? Hey, wait, this isn't a
well, everybody knows my view on the
Connie offline. So. That's me offline. Okay, so here's the last one that I'm going to show you guys tonight. And I love my ship so much.
The Vulcan ships too. Nice. Yeah. And I know we can't talk about it today, but I've always wondered what happens to all of these ships. I know that each race kind of probably has their own maybe militia fleet, after they join the Federation. But it's just whatever happens, you do see them from time to time, like in the motion picture you see the Vulcan shuttle, the Vulcan ship that delivers Spock, but it's you just never see them that much anymore. I know.
So the way it happened, the way it worked out is as Starfleet grew, the Federation grew, each of the main races had their kind of their thing that they were good at technology wise. And what they did was that there was a decision made to instead of the Vulcans, the Andorians, and the humans continuing to do their own fleets, Vulcans, Andorians, Tellarites diverted more of their resources to, okay, the humans know what they're doing when it comes to ships, and let's pull our resources into one thing. So it was kind of a resource pool, and it was decided that Starfleet would be the place where the main military and exploration fleet for the Federation would happen. Now you still had some Vulcan ships, some Andorian ships, Tellarite ships, but they didn't focus on those as much as time went along. It was, let's put all of our resources into Starfleet.
Yeah, because that's where they were sharing technology.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the Andorians were heavily involved in, I know that. I mean, like they were involved in weapon development. Tellarites were, I think, involved in more like planetary defense type. There was a list somebody compiled a long time ago of like the specialities of all the different races. Obviously, the Binars and computer science, the Vulcans just like general science and xenobiology. Like there's a whole list out there of everything that each race of the Federation that we know of, because we still don't know all 150 races in the Federation. I don't think there's a complete list of all 150 races.
Yeah, and the way you look at it, is like right now, if you look at the geopolitical landscape, the military landscape is with the U.S. and its allies, Europe, right, and Japan, Taiwan, South Korea, those guys. Everyone is doing their own thing. Now, there are some things that the U.S. is just so far ahead of everyone else that, so they all want to buy F-35s, okay? But they all got their own tanks. Like, most U.S. allies have their own tanks. They don't buy M1 Abrams. They got their own because technologically, that technology is pretty ubiquitous. It's pretty commonplace. And Germany, Poland, Taiwan, South Korea all have their own tanks, and they're good with that. But when they want air superiority fighters, they come to the U.S. So and that's because the U.S. has the best tech. Now, there are projects where everyone pools their resources. For example, in Europe, they have the Eurofighter, which is all the European countries coming together to develop the single plane that use the best technology from all over. And that's kind of where you are with Starfleet. Starfleet basically saying, as they say in Prelude, they say, oh, well, the Andorians were happy to sell us their weapon systems, right? So, and to Cheeto's point, that is the way it's developed. So Starfleet is developed by having the best of everything. Everyone's like, okay, we'll contribute this, and then they build this Ares class. So in Axanar, the Vulcans have Vulcan ships. They also have a series of Ares class ships, right? And others and other Federation starships. And that's the way it is. That's the way it is for everyone. Everyone has their own, but they also have Starfleet ships. So we just play with it for that. Listen, it is 8:04, and I do need to go and get the rest of my walk in. But this has been it's nice to see some new people. RDD42, is that it? Have I seen you before? Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. We appreciate everyone. If you're new here, thanks. And if you're not new here, Olive Drab is here. Dustin D is here. It's good to see you guys. Thanks. Scott Good, thanks for coming out. Sturm, thank you. Donnie, Sentai Ranger Donnie, as all. So many of you are regulars, and we appreciate you guys coming out. So what is happening on YouTube for you guys? Cheeto, Big J, would talk to me. What does everyone need to know about your? I mean,
over at NerdTube, I mean, we're reviewing several things. We are still currently reviewing Prodigy. We actually decided that since it all dropped in one big go, we decided to take 2 episodes a week and review them because there's a lot of 2-parters. So we're doing a lot of that. We do all Star Trek reviews as well. Our fan film reactions are over there, which a lot of people have seen. We react to fan films and we give our honest and opinions and stuff like that. We do Star Trek, Star Wars. We do the whole gamut. It's kind of a variety nerd channel. I mean, yeah, we review the bits and bobs around there, and so yeah, so just anything nerdy. If you head over there, and that's what we always do every week, always pumping out content.
There you go.
It's been with Beyond Trek podcast Beyond Trek podcast. It's a little tough being the sole content creator on the channel as it's been for a while, and just real life and work has really gone up. And right now, the majority of the content has been when I do these live streams with you guys. So that's been the main part of the channel's content. really haven't done any podcasts or episode reviews or fan film reviews. None of that. May get back into that at some point, but honestly, my plate has been so full. So Beyond Track Podcast, you can check out our YouTube channel. The majority of it has been lately these live streams that I've been doing with Alec and Cheeto.
Well, we will keep doing them. So thank you. Everyone, make sure you check out on the Axanar YouTube channel the latest update, the July 10th anniversary Axanar update, which has 32,000 views right now. Please check it out. Give it a thumbs up. Make sure you leave a comment. It slowed down. It was really on fire, and it slowed down as they always do. So thank you so much. And it's been a great chat tonight. Thank you guys both for coming out. And everyone, make sure you check out the MultiGeek Store. I put the info in the YouTube show notes. Check it out. We're going to start. I've been talking to a bunch of our graphics guys, and we're going to start having a lot of new stuff in there because we're kind of gearing up for the release of Axanar and knowing that that's going to be a big deal. So, and I know Big J and I are going to talk about another video that we're popping up. So thank you everyone out there. It's been great. Cheeto, Big J, we will see you guys next week at the least. Maybe this weekend. And thank you, everyone. Stay tuned. We got more coming, and I know I'm going to try and record a podcast, so there'll be something there you can check out. And I will keep you. Also, make sure you join our Patreon, patreon.com/Aries Studios. That's important because we got so much. It's actually so much happening now with our production company, Aries Productions, and it's all going to be. It's going to just keep this train going. So. I'm sure we are going to have haters for the next 10 years. So I'm going to be so happy because it's just 10 more years where they're accomplishing nothing in their lives. So that is the best revenge. But until then, guys, thank you. As always, peace and long life, my friends. We'll see you around the galaxy, hopefully at least next Wednesday. Cheers.